I got more fighter reactions to Islam Makhachev's win over Charles Oliveira at UFC 280. Here's part 2 of my latest MMA Pros React video.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised, but, he's that good, and he's that strong too. And we've seen in the past that when Oliveira gets dropped, that the people are scared to go on top of him and engage, and or they just much rather engage on the feet. They think that it's more dangerous to get on top of him, but Islam didn't have a problem doing that, and I think that was a great part of the strategy because, I thought that Charles would just be a little bit more durable, but obviously that's a different level of power, that you're dealing with there. And so I was surprised by the outcome.
I picked Charles to win. So, Charles had just had so many good wins in a row. He'd fought so many of the very best guys. Makhachev's record was very interesting because while he'd won a whole bunch of fights in a row, he hadn't fought any of the very best of the best guys. So I was still kind of unsure what to expect out of that. Yeah, I thought he looked great though. And I thought, obviously from a logistics perspective, I thought Charles was a very logical pick, and you could easily back that up with sound logic. Makhachev, your logic would not be nearly as sound. It would be more speculative.
It was a great fight, man. I guess he answered all the questions. He answered the questions as far as if he did play on the ground with them, if he was going to be able to, stay away from Oliveira's danger. And I think that was honestly a big thing for him. A big key to his success was he was able to stop Oliveira from throwing up submissions and being dangerous on there. Most people knock him down and let him get back up because they're too worried, his dangerous submission game. And then for him to get the submission at the end for the finish, I think was a really big feather in the cap for him as well.
Yeah, I think that the time zone difference affected Charles a little bit. He got in there too close to the fight. I don't think he gave himself enough time to adapt to it. And as far as the technical aspects of the fight goes, he was a little bit too passive. He didn't fight the way he had been fighting these last few fights. I think that he could have tried to escape the submission attempt, but he didn't even try.
Impressive, man. People have beaten Charles, but nobody's beaten Charles like that. I think that's very impressive, and I think it's set the bar just a little bit higher for our division.
I thought it was dominant. It was like I was messing with my friends. I said, "This is where we find out if Jiu-Jitsu is better than Samba." Samba, and I was like, "Well, Samba won. I'm gonna go start doing that."
Did you think Islam was going to win going into the fight, or did you think Charles was going to get it done?
I thought Charles was gonna get it done, and but man, I won't go against Islam again after that. That was. Whew.
I think in my opinion, I believe Oliveira let the magnitude of the fight kind of get to him. He usually doesn't leap and lunge into strikes, and he was kind of I don't want to say sloppy, but he was I guess feeling the magnitude of it. He was really trying to get to him, and ultimately try to throw a jumping knee from 10 feet away, and as soon as he landed, he got popped with a straight left, and that was I think his own aggression was his own demise.
Did you think he was going to beat Islam going into the fight?
I'm always I like Charles. He's a dark horse of the division, and the guy's he's had to win 12, 13 fights in order to to be where he was at, and I was he's of course the underdog. I was I'm always the underdog too in situations. So I was kind of going for Charles, and his upbringing too. They both have a rough upbringing, but more of Charles. You can see where he comes from and the strides he's made, and you want to see someone like that be successful, do good. But Islam's no different. He comes from a hard place too, and the best man won that night.
Yeah, man. I thought it was gonna be a better fight. I thought Charles could definitely put him away. I thought Charles's clinch was gonna be a big difference, and Islam made it look easy. And part of that, I think, I don't know Charles, but you saw how many people are around Charles, and I feel like that's tough. You have so much pressure already, and you have 40 people around you, which he hasn't always had. He hasn't always done that, and he had so many people around him, and indirectly, that's 40 different people tugging at your attention and all these different things. And yeah, Islam made it look super easy. And I don't know. I don't think anyone's going to beat Islam for a long time. You know, one thing about those guys, we talk about it at our gym, like Khabib and Islam and all those guys, they're so balanced. Like everything they do, everyone's like, well, their striking's not amazing, but they're always in balance. So like every time they hit you, it hurts. And they're always able to wrestle. They're never out of position. And that's a hard guy to beat. Like they're so technically sound. And, you know, that's why he was able to beat Charles. Charles tried that jumping knee or jumping kick, got cracked. And then, like Islam said, he said, I'm not afraid to go to the ground. And he went to the ground and finished him. So I was pretty surprised by it, to be honest. But yeah, I don't think anyone's going to beat Islam for a while.
I was not surprised. That's what I expected to happen. I didn't know how it was going to happen. So yeah, I was surprised on that as an entertainment. But I think Volkanovski, you shouldn't take that fight if that's where this is going, you know?
It's really hard. Like we've been talking about that here in the gym because we're full of guys that know about this sport, and it's gonna be hard to beat Islam. I mean, in that division, his pressure on top, his wrestling is really good, and they work really good game plans. I mean, the hook from the lead hand was really a good timing. It's gonna be hard to beat that guy, but I was rooting for Oliveira because I know him and he's such a nice guy. He always come to us and say hi. I have a kind of like a good relationship there, so we were rooting for Oliveira, but yeah, Islam take it, and I think it's gonna be really hard. I hope they give the shot to Benny Dairouche. I used to train with him in MMA, and he's good. He's kind of like a good wrestler, a good jiu-jitsu guy. He doesn't stop throwing, so I hope Benny get the shot.
Man, I mean, I think everybody kind of figured like what was gonna happen. Oliveira kind of surprised me a little bit. He obviously got rocked, and then he got dropped, and then he got submitted. I didn't see that planning out really that way, but you know, props to Makhachev, and I think that Oliveira will be back. I don't know who can really beat Oliveira right now besides Makhachev. So he might be that gatekeeper, but those like top four with and Dariush too, but Makhachev, Gaethje, Chandler, Oliveira, and then Dariush. But that's a fun like five fighters that, you know, anybody can go out there and put on a performance and could potentially take it. You know, I like watching that division.
Yeah, it was super cool. And you know, I love, being a UFC fighter. You know what I'm saying? I'm also a huge UFC fan too, baby. You know what I'm saying? And Islam, he did incredible, man. I was like, that was such a high-profile fight. I'm a big fan of Charles Oliveira. I'm a fan of Islam as well, and I knew that it was going to be history in the making there in Abu Dhabi with whoever would win that fight. And man, every UFC, man, the big UFCs like this, martial arts history is being made inside that octagon. This is the real gladiator things, you know what I'm saying? And Islam Makhachev, he did incredible, you know what I'm saying? With he landed the big punch, and then right whenever he landed in that arm triangle position, you know, he's done this move thousands and thousands of times. It was so tight. Man, you know, he got a mean squeeze. That arm triangle was very impressive, and he's the new undisputed champion now. Yeah, so that was incredible to see. It was very impressive to see. So congrats to Islam like that. But now he's gonna have to be fighting Volkanovski coming up next, man. So I'm super pumped for that fight too. You know what I'm saying? But hey, you already know I'm gonna be rooting for Volkanovski, and now when that comes out next year in 2023.